marathon training straight off the back. I'd done like 25 miles. I had a week off after the marathon, as I always do. 25 miles the week after, 25 the week after that. Just kept it nice and easy, and then it was my 10K weekend, and I just approached it in a completely different mindset to all the 10Ks I've been doing. Back in the summer when I've done specific training. Hey, I can see us. I can see us on the
Right,
screen.
okay, so the technology has failed completely at the start of this.
Oh,
Um,
that's okay.
there's a
We'll roll with
button
it.
you have
We'll
to
roll with it. It's
there's a
fine.
button you have to press which I didn't press.
That's
So
fine. We'll
let's
roll with it.
let's start again. Let's start again because I
Okay,
don't think anyone will have heard that intro. So
let's go for it, mate.
let's
Go for
go
it.
for
Good
it
evening,
again, yeah?
everybody.
so, so guys, I am absolutely sorry. I think probably a bit of a false start there, but thanks for everyone that has tuned in. And welcome to the very first live stream here on the Here We Are Running YouTube channel. It's hopefully won't be the last one, and it hopefully is working now. Thanks, Recreational Runner, for letting us know it is working. And yeah, so I've got a guest on the channel today. The guest is Andy, the FOD Runner, who you just saw a little clip of there as we were just trying to work out the technology here. And I'll go through the background again about why when I started following Andy's channel and how he's inspired me to actually create my running YouTube channel. So about 2 years ago, Andy created a video called Running to Me. It was where he asked other subscribers of his channel, runners, as well as other running YouTubers, to film a bit of a clip on their phone or their camera, and he sent it. They sent it to him. He compiled it all together in this fantastic inspirational video, telling a really good story about what running meant to everyone. It was that video that then inspired me to pick up my action camera, go for a run, film a little clip, and from there I started my running YouTube channel. So you saw a little clip of him, but here he is now in full screen. Welcome, Andy.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Yes, mate. As I said before, absolute pleasure to sort of hear that, especially about the video. As we said before, like I've completely forgotten about that video. It was an absolute pleasure to put together and to see all those channels around that time when I put the video together. So many channels just blossoming, and it's kind of all about trying to give them some exposure. And like when I was sent all this footage to amalgamate into a video, it blew my mind, and it was so cool because the running community, I'm sure all sports say the same, but I think the running community is pretty special, to be honest with you, and we all seem to have each other's backs, and especially in the video world. I personally love running YouTube channels. I love reading blogs, I love reading online posts on Facebook and Twitter and that, but videos get me a little bit more. I love that personal connection with people, and yeah, putting that video together was fantastic, and I appreciate your kind words. I remember you put in that you were going to start your channel, and 850 subscribers later, here you are.
Indeed, and yeah, well, thanks for that inspiration to get it going. It's been really enjoyable experience. And guys, if you are not familiar with Andy's channel, then I've got links in the description below, so do go and check that out afterwards. He's got some great videos on there that you can watch, and he really covers his running story through his training and through his races. So yeah, really do go and check that out afterwards. And I can see we've got quite a few people now joining the live stream. That's fantastic. Welcome to everybody. And yeah, there's something that Andy and I have got in common actually in recent times, because over the course of the last week, we both got ourselves a new 10K PB. So if you follow my channel, you'll know that I got my 10K PB just over a week ago. And so that I was trying to go sub 45 for the first time and achieved that with a 43 minutes and 38 seconds. And Andy got a 10K PB at the Gloucester Marathon, which I believe Andy was 36 minutes and 2 seconds. But as well as all of that, Andy has had a phenomenal few months, because he's gone sub 1 hour 20 in the Swindon Half Marathon, and then he followed that up with the Abingdon Marathon, where he went sub 3 hours for the first time. So he's on a real roll with PPs. But what I thought I'd do, given that we've both got this recent 10K PB behind us now, is just discuss that for a moment. But guys, if you've got any questions that you want to ask either of us, it'd be great to get some interaction going. So put them in the chat and we'll come over to those in a minute. But before we do that, so Andy, what I was going to ask you is, how did you approach your 10K race? Was it off the back of some specific training for that, or did you just go with the fitness that you gained through those other races and over the past few months?
Yeah, definitely. It's a great question, and I think it's in this scenario, I did it off the fitness that I had, so I hadn't done any specific training. But my year's been full of training blocks and training cycles, and I think as runners we all kind of like to do certain training blocks for certain distances. So my year started off with an 18-week marathon plan for Newport Marathon. Once I did that, I had a week off, and then I had 2 or 3 easy weeks because I was quite ill after that marathon, quite run down. And then I jumped into a 9-week specific 10K block over the summer. And then I jumped from there, did 5 10K races in the space of 9 weeks, which was great fun. Just stripped it right back, enjoyed racing. From there, jumped into a 4-week training block for half marathons. And then that led us to September. And then I had 3 weeks to tune up for the Abingdon Marathon. So in that aspect, I literally just did 2 long run workouts. And that was it for marathon specific training. And then that led me to now, which was basically finishing Abingdon Marathon, having another week off, because I always have a week off after a marathon, doing 2 really easy weeks at 25 miles each, and then doing a 35-mile week, and in that 35-mile week running that 10K. So I'd literally done no workouts off the back of the Abingdon Marathon, other than like one race, Severnbridge 5-mile night race. That was just to test the speed and see where the fitness was at after the marathon, and I just rolled with it. And you know what, honestly, I can safely say that those are the best races you have, where there's no pressure, there's no stress of is the training going to pay off or not, because when it pays off it's great. Sometimes when it's not, it's the most demoralizing thing ever. You had it where obviously you trained hard and you got your 10K in the summer. I was trying to break 36 minutes, training so hard like you did for your recent 10K. You smashed it. I didn't get the PB then, and I got the PB now when I wasn't even expecting to do it, which is exciting because that means that all the fitness that I've gained throughout the year and those training blocks and training cycles and rest periods have paid dividends.
And that is really good. And I think, yeah, that fitness that you gained has really helped you through it. And yeah, you say that I did some training, but I didn't actually do a huge amount of specific training. I actually did a 4-week training specific to 10K, but that was kind of because I only had 4 weeks, and when I decided to do it. So yeah. What I put mine down to is, before I did that 4-week specific training, I was actually I did the Run Every Day October challenge. And I've done that 2 years in a row now, and that has really kind of improved my fitness to a level. And then I could just do those 4 weeks more specific training, introducing a bit of speed work, and that's what I put it down to, really. I did the Guildford 10K halfway through October, and I knew I was in with a chance, and then picked the flattest course I could find. It was laps, which isn't ideal from a sort of nice scenic type view, but it was in a park, which was quite nice. And then just did those laps for them. Actually, one interesting thing, because when I did mine, I got to about 8K and I knew I was going to do it then. I knew I'd bagged enough time. Every kilometre up to 8K was under my target of 4.5 minutes per kilometre. So I knew I was going to do it. All I had to do was just keep going, really. In terms of your one, where did you get to, and what did you feel at the various stages?
Mine was a frustrating one because for those of you that follow my channel, you'll know that I've suffered with some stitch issues for the last couple of years, to be honest with you, and I've just started to iron those out. I haven't got to the bottom of it, but I've started to work out what's going on. And I knew that I had to hold 5:47 pace per mile to get under 36 minutes. and I just thought I'm going to go out there and run as I always do. I never. This year I've learned not to try too much, or I don't look at the watch at all. The only time I look at the watch is when the mile splits bleep at me. I'm never clock watching. I think it's the worst thing you can do in a race. I see so many people around me doing it, and I'm like, just enjoy. Look up, raise your head, look around, appreciate that you can put one foot in front of the other and push yourself to your limits. With just work hard. And I remember going through the first mile. And I always listen to everyone's breathing. I'm there thinking, you're breathing hard, you're breathing hard, you're breathing way too hard, you're not going to hold that pace. And those sorts of things breathe confidence into me because I'm nice and trying to keep nice and calm and relaxed. And I ran a 5:45. I thought, happy days, that's pretty good. If I can maintain that, that will get me under 36 minutes. So at mile 1, I kind of thought this could be on. So then I ran mile 2. And I got another 5:45, and I thought, okay, this is interesting. But then there was a bit of a kick in the teeth because I thought it was a flat course, and it wasn't a flat course. So then we had a mile 3, which was a hill, and I ran a 6:06, and I thought, well, that's game over. And then, but of course, what comes up must go down. So I came down the other side and ran a 5:31. At that moment in time, I didn't know what my average pace was. So for me, I didn't know at mile 4. Sorry, I don't work in kilometres. I'm thinking in miles. So that's probably, I don't know, what, 6K? So then I hit mile 5, which was back to flat, and I hit a 5:44 or 5:43 or something. And I thought, hello, this could happen. So at that moment in time, I knew deep down that I was going to smash sub 36, which I ended up not doing, but I still got the PB. Got to mile 6, ran another 5:45, and thought, this is incredible. All this fitness, all those nights on the industrial estate, all those wet and rainy nights, is all coming down to this moment. You're gonna do it. And then I looked at my watch at 6.20 miles, and the finish line was nowhere to be seen, and I clocked a 35:31 for the 10k mark on my watch, and I thought, where the heck is the finish line? So I rounded another 2 corners, and lo and behold, there it was. And my watch came up at 6.29 miles, so almost 0.1 over. And everyone I spoke to at the end, their watch was at least 6.23, 6.24, so everyone's was over. And I came in at 36:01, which is still a PB, and I knew I was going to PB from mile 5 when I had gone up and down and then got back to flat and got consistent again. But I've got to be honest, I was left a little bit disappointed with the fact that the course was a little bit long.
I know, I remember seeing that on your video and I could feel the frustration. But it's interesting, isn't it, actually? Because it just proves, though, you can't really go by the GPS on the watches. No. And I actually had the opposite to you. The GPS on my watch was not at all accurate either. It came in at 9.91 kilometers. So that really helped me, I guess. But all the time, every lap I was doing was obviously, it was tracking it at a bit less than what it really was. And I don't know about you, whether you did this or not, but I actually checked everyone else on Strava that had done the race. Yeah. And I looked at what theirs had come at, and some of them were similar to mine, low 9.9 somethings. But other ones were actually just over 10. And it tended to be the ones that were using the Strava app or some sort of app on their phones that seemed to be more accurate than people that were using watches, which, yeah, it's interesting. And I put it down to also the fact that it was a lapped course. So if one lap is not that accurate, then it's going to repeat itself 4 times.
The problem is that you've also got to rely on the course markers as well. And our course markers were out. So you hit 3 kilometres and it was all bang on. Like I know roughly kilometre was 0.62 and then 1.24 and then 1.86 or around that time. And it was fine. And then kilometre 4 came and it was nowhere to be seen. Kilometre 4 sign didn't even exist. And we went through 5k. And my watch said 3.31 miles. So I was 0.21 over a 5k. So I couldn't even rely on the marker board, I really was relying on my watch. But as you say, it depends on where you are. If the signal's bad, I don't know if phone GPS signal's better than watches. It swings and roundabouts. All these
Yeah.
courses are certified, aren't they? So we've got to trust that they're right.
Yeah. And next time you've got to knock 3 seconds off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Another thing I was interested to find out is for a 10K race or a short distance race like that, what do you do about nutrition during the race? Do you take any, or do you just go flat out the whole way around without any?
Yeah, I don't take anything on in a 10K. The only time I take stuff on is when I get to the hour mark. So whatever race that might be, it's normally a half marathon, and I normally have a gel. I normally have a gel at mile 8 or 9. So I don't. So actually, that's a bit of a lie. I have a gel in the half marathon at about 55 minutes, because obviously an hour when you're running at your threshold is kind of the most you can handle. So if I try and sit just under my threshold, but I've experienced that if I get to mile 10 or 11 in a half marathon without taking anything, I really, really flag. And loads of people I know don't need to take anything. They can go right through a half marathon without any fluid or gels. I need to have one in a half marathon about mile 9, but that's it. But for a 10K, no, I just have my breakfast 3.5 hours before the race, and that's it.
Great stuff. And okay, let's see who we have got on the chat. I can see we've got 22 people watching at the moment, so welcome everybody. If you're just joining now, we've got Andy the FOD Runner as our guest tonight. And guys, do hit the like button if you're watching the stream and you're enjoying it. That would be helpful too. And let's see now who we have got. We've got the Recreational Runner. Hello to you. We've got Cy. Hello. Kevin. We've got Dan Runs. Hello, Dan. Chris Hawes. Hi, Chris. We've got Jay. Jay is in from Florida. Welcome to you. And let's see if we got some people with some questions. So Jay is asking, love the accents, long daily trainer, New Balance Propel versus New Balance 1080 version 10 versus Hoka Clifton. This one's for you, Andy, because I know you've run in some of those. I've run in none of them.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. Thank you. We love your accent too. We don't have, well, I don't know. I don't have a very exciting British accent. I'm very bog standard. I don't have anything regional. Let me see the question. New Balance Propel. I've got the Propel. I haven't tried the 1080 V10, and I haven't tried the Clifton 6. I've tried the Rincon, and I've tried the New Balance Beacon V2. The Beacon is quite similar to the V10, except the V10 is a bit, from what I gather, a little bit of a softer ride with the, oh my goodness, what's the foam in it? Fresh Foam X. The Beacon 2 has just got the fresh foam, so it's a little bit softer. And the Clifton 6, obviously I've got the Rincon, similar midsoles there. For me, obviously I can't comment on those specifically. The Propel, I've got that, and it is just, for me, it was a revelation this year. Such a nice, soft and comfortable shoe. I love it. I only tend to use it on my long, easy runs. It doesn't tend to want me to pick up the speed, so I don't really use it for speed work. If I use my comparisons of the shoes that I have and not the ones you're saying and try and give you a rough idea, the Beacon V2 is a great everyday shoe, and I'm guessing the 1080, it's a touch heavier from what I gather, but it is on my hit list to try. It's just kind of one of those things. The Beacon has grown on me, and I think the 1080 would be exactly the same. I really like it for the everyday stuff. And the Clifton, again, compared to the Rincon, the Clifton's meant to be geared up for, again, more longer miles, easy miles, a bit heavier than the Rincon. But I've got to say, the Rincon really converted me to Hoka this year. It's my 2019 shoe of the year without a shadow of a doubt, and I would love to try the Clifton 6. So I'm sorry I can't be too specific, but I've got to say the two that I'd love to try, but the Propel is just, from the long daily trainer, like the Propel, I've run 20, 22, 24 miles in that thing at 7 flat pace, 7:30 pace. Love it. Absolutely brilliant.
Good stuff. And you've been doing quite a few shoe review videos on your channel, haven't you, Andy? Is that something that you've got into this year and really sort of enjoyed doing?
So the long and short of that is I'd done some shoe reviews on so I was exclusive at running in Asics shoes for like 3 years, and I was always doing shoe reviews on those things, but they never seemed to generate too much interest. And I understand why. I never picked top of the range shoes. I never got interesting shoes, shall we say, from Asics, but I loved making the reviews. And you go back on my channel all the way back in the day, I've got some real old shoe reviews on there, which are great fun. And I remember interviewing Kofuzi, or a lot of you probably who know who he is, at the beginning of the year. And I said, any tips for YouTubers? And he said to me, the one thing I'll say is don't be afraid to put out mixed content that you think people might or might not like. And I was always putting out content that I love to make, like my training series and that, but I was always afraid of doing the shoe reviews because I always thought I was never good enough to do a shoe review. So then when I did my Nike shoe review earlier this year, I just thought, do you know what, I'll take his advice and I'll do it. And if people don't like it, they don't like it. And if they do like it, they do like it. And it blew up massively. And I was like, wow, people do like it and I love doing it. So I'm now going to try and mix it in with my daily content. And so I do. I just now have a much more broader approach to what I try and do on my channel. Not just training, not just, how to, but running shoe reviews as well. So yeah, it's just kind of evolved from there, really.
That's good stuff. And okay, let's see who else we've got. Recreational Runner is definitely going to check your channel out, Andy. So that's good.
You're a star. Thank you.
Kevin Scott is saying #smashed it. So
legend. Thank you, mate.
Thank you. Dan Runs is saying, when are we both going to run a race together?
Oh, I'd love to. That would be so good, wouldn't it? Do you know what would be really good? Is if all the YouTubers could get together and run a race. That would be so good. The problem I have, more so than you lot, is that I'm the other side of the country. And it's not a massive excuse. I can travel. But you and like FODDIE and Rich, Bays 187, Clean Coach Katie, you're all east side of the country.
Yes.
I'm on the Welsh border. So it's a bit more difficult, but maybe 2020, that would be awesome.
You never know, do you? You never know. Race. We've got to make it happen, though. And I've raced with Dan Runs a few times now, well, at least twice.
Yes, you have.
So he'll have to come and join us as well. Okay, Recreational Runner is asking how much per week... Oh, hang on, it's moving now. How much per week do you gents dedicate to strength and stability training? And he's saying, I struggle. I try.
You want to take that one because you do a bit of strength and conditioning, don't you?
Yeah, so I try and get to the gym once per week, and it doesn't happen once per week, but that's what I try to do. I did set myself a goal at the beginning of the year to go every week or on average once per week, and I failed that one dismally because there's periods where I just haven't got there at all, but I do try and get there once per week. I was quite regimented at doing that during my October challenge and also during the 10k training. And when I go down there, I do several things. I do the strength machines on my legs particularly, and I try and get onto the bike and do 20-30 minutes on the bike down there. And I'm normally down there about an hour and a half, something like that when I go. So that's pretty much what I do. I combine that with stretching, and I try and do stretching every day, as well as some rolling every day. Whether or not I've been out for running, I will try and do that. So that's what I do. How about you, Andy?
Similar to you, I go to the gym twice a week. Sometimes it's once a week. I make sure it's once a week, but I do try twice a week. This is actually the third week on the bounce that I should be back twice a week. I've gone more twice a week this year than once a week. Honestly, I can't recommend strength training enough. And I do weights. Everything's weight related. I've done a gym sort of video on my channel. It was a while ago. Nothing's changed much, although I do deadlifts and squats with I'm so rubbish with terminology, with bars on my back and a squat. I do all of that stuff, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. I think as runners, we think if let's say magically we had an hour pop up free on our schedule, which doesn't happen because both me and you have kids, we know what that's like. But if magically it did, our instinct is to go, let's go for a run because we're runners and we want to run. But actually, I've tried to ditch that mindset. I haven't increased my mileage. I still stick at around 45 to 50 miles a week when I could run maybe 60 or 70, but I take that time to go twice a week to the gym and it's improved performance no end. I couldn't recommend strength training highly enough. We've all, whether you like it or not, we've all got our flaws in our running gait cycle chain. If we can strengthen up, we fix it. I've noticed massive differences. So yeah, that's what I try and do.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think it's essential, really, for any runner, really, to do strength training as well.
Especially marathon training.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I never used to do any when I first started, and then start getting injured, and you learn the hard way. It really does help. Right, let's go further down. We're getting lots of comments coming in here, Andy.
We are, mate.
And I'm struggling to follow them. Okay, we've got Matthew here, and he's asking, do you have any recommendations for finding a coach in London or the London area for the spring marathon? He's from the US, but he's studying abroad near London this spring. Oh, that's great. And Dan Runs has actually answered this for us, because I don't think I do have any recommendations.
Do you know what? Ben popped into my head, actually.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. You can find Ben Pass all over social media. You probably follow his YouTube channel.
And I think Dan actually used one of his training plans when he was training for a marathon as well. So that's definitely a good recommendation there. Thanks, Dan. Right, we've got Rob, who is saying he's struggling with hip flexor issues after the Dublin City Marathon. Any recommendations for dynamic stretches, please?
Yes, 100%. Go to the you probably know them. This is a game changer for me because we all, especially if you sit at a chair most of the day like I do, we get tight hip flexors. It's a nightmare. If you go to a running YouTube channel called The Run Experience, they're like the biggest running YouTube channel on the platform, 300 and something thousand subscribers. They're brilliant. And if you search on there for hip stretches, they have a great hip stretch mobility routine to do. It's like a stretch from the couch. There's 2 or 3 to do. If you religiously follow that for a good couple of weeks and just do it 2 or 3 times a week gently, start gently and progress, keep stretching out. I had exactly the same problems and it solved them instantly. Mine were just too tight, and the problem is in a marathon, especially towards the end, we start to lean forward, our hips start to tighten up, we kind of scrunch in the middle, we're no longer running straight with the center of mass underneath us with our legs, we kind of like bend in the middle a bit. Where's the bend in the middle? These are our hips here, and the hip flexors here get super tight. Go check that out. Honestly, go on their channel, search for the video. Best thing I ever did.
Great, thanks for that, Andy. So Matthew has actually replied back to Dan saying that he thinks that Ben's coaching services are sold out at the current time. It's too popular. So I don't
know anyone else, to be honest with you. No. I know coaches, but just not in London.
No. So if anyone else is watching who does have any recommendations in that area, do drop a comment back. I'm sure Matthew would appreciate it. Who else have we got? So we've got Sai, who is asking thoughts on fasted running, please. Can train up to 90 minutes without taking on gels comfortably. Is there an optimum time you should fasted train up to, and can you cause more issues than good? What's your view on that, Andy?
Okay, I'm not going to get technical because I'm not a coach and I'm not certified to give any sort of good quality information out, so we say, but I run fasted most weeks. My evening runs are obviously fueled because I've had food during the day. This morning, for example, I got up at 5:30, out the door at 6, did 8 miles, fasted, so no food. Every Monday, and if I go out Wednesday or Friday, they're always fasted. And then my long runs, when I'm specifically marathon training, I'll alternate each week. So one week I'll do a fasted run, and the next week I'll do a fueled run. I mean, running fasted is great for getting your body used to burning fat as a fuel. It is really good, and I found it beneficial. But doing it week in, week out, from a mental perspective, more than anything, is a bit debilitating because you sometimes, it's obviously harder. You haven't got that energy, you haven't got the fuel in you, and you burn out a heck of a lot quicker. The one thing I would say, and I can sometimes do up to 2 hours. I'm sure people can go longer, but I don't like to go over 2 hours if I'm honest. The one thing I would say is if you are building up your mileage, whatever you do, take what I call an emergency gel with you. Take something with you because I've been out and I've got to about an hour and a half trying to do a long run workout and I've gone dizzy and I can feel my blood sugars going low. I've had to have a gel. So it is really important as you're practicing fasted running that you have some emergency food source on you in case you're ever in that situation. But I mean, yeah, I go up to 2 hours. And again, for my Abingdon Marathon recently, I don't think I'd have run the time I ran if I hadn't been doing fasted running.
That's interesting. I tend not to. I tend to eat before I go out running in training, except if I'm doing an early morning run. If I'm just getting up straight away out of bed and putting the clothes on and the running shoes on and getting out the door, then I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I would probably take something with me to have if it was a long run. Okay, let's see. Back to the comments. And again, I've lost my place. So bear with me. It's going so quick.
It is.
Right. Mr. Cole 104, welcome. And Neil.
Good evening, Colin.
Hi, Colin. And hi, Neil. Question from Neil. Regarding the long run, everything I read and watch says a minute or so more than your target marathon pace. However, my long runs are to target pace. Is that wrong? So everything I've been told is your long runs in marathon training should be at a much easier pace than your marathon pace. And so I will be probably doing my long runs at about an easy pace of about 6 minutes to 6:10 per kilometre. And that is, well, that's what I did last year. And that's when I was targeting a pace during the marathon of about 5 minutes 21, 5 minutes 30, around that sort of pace. So that's kind of what I was aiming for. What about you, Andy? What's your view on that?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. Again, it depends on how you want to train. I do lots of long run workouts, so for me, I will. Oh, it's difficult. It splits hairs. So you either do midweek workouts and then take your long runs easy, or what I tend to do is maybe do 2 workouts in the week if I can, and then a long run workout as well. But if I'm not feeling up to it, I'll just do 1 workout in the week and then a long run workout. So let's say I'm in the height of marathon training and I'm literally peaking on a Wednesday. Let's say it might be an hour 45 run, and I might do a 30-minute warm up, and then I might do 4 by 15 minutes at marathon pace, and then a 30-minute cool down, or I don't know, something like that. But then on a weekend, and the rest of my mileage in the week will be easy. And then on a weekend, I've got a 22 or 23 mile long run planned, and in that, I might do something like 1 mile on, 1 mile off, being 30 seconds over marathon pace, 30 seconds under marathon pace, alternating. Or I might do again more stuff like 4 by 20 minutes at marathon pace. Whereas before I've done training plans where, like you, Chris, I just do my long runs purely easy, similar paces to what you're talking about there, and just keep my workouts to midweek. It really is down to the person. I know people that train the long run workout way like I do now and they don't like it, they hate it. And I know people that swear by the long run workout, and I'm a convert. I swear by the long run workout. But what I would say is if you're running all your long runs at your marathon goal pace, that could be very detrimental. Yes, you want to break it into chunks, or if you watch an elite, they won't go more than 15 miles at tempo goal marathon pace. That will be the maximum, and they'll either do that in 15-mile block or split it up. And they don't do that often every week. They'll do sections, like I've said, and then one week go, right, 10 miles at marathon pace. Then they'll do some sectional work and then go 12 weeks at marathon pace, and then some more, and then 15, and that'll be their peak. So it swings and roundabouts. Everyone's different. What I'd say is experiment with it. I would not be without the long run workout. But yeah, we're all different.
Yeah, indeed. And I'm trying to build up a plan for my upcoming marathon. The training plan's gonna kick off in about a couple of weeks. And I went out there and I just looked at lots of different training plans, and they are all different about the sort of advice they give and the paces they expect you to go. And you'll find a few that are all sort of fairly consistent, and then some others that are completely different. So some of it, I think, is just personal choice. You learn from experience. Yeah, exactly.
You'll find out what works for you. All I'd say is have a look at a couple of training plans, try a couple of workouts out in a session, in a time where you're not training for anything. See how you feel, see how you respond. If it's too much, you know it's not for you. If you can handle it, then maybe look at that approach for another marathon. I've done like 5 or 6 marathons now, and each one I've taken a different approach, and I'm slowly working out as I go along what works for me and what doesn't, and we're all different.
Indeed, and I think the marathon is the one race that you really do have to learn from.
It chews you up and spits you out.
Yeah, you are going to make mistakes, and you're going to learn from those mistakes. And the day we run a marathon without mistakes is a lot. Well, maybe you've done it, Andy, in your last one.
No, I've never run a marathon without a mistake. Every marathon has gone to pot in some way, shape, or form.
It's just that different sort of beast altogether, isn't it?
Definitely.
Let's carry on, because we've still got quite a lot to get through here.
Go for it.
So, okay, Dan Runs is saying, I'm in. I think that's from the previous comments about races. And Colin is saying, reckon there'd be some serious rivalry if the YouTubers ran together.
Definitely.
Oh, well.
That'd be fantastic.
I think it'd be great. Matthew is saying, that's about the coaches again. Recreational runner, I aim for once per week, but 9 month keeps distracting me.
I think that's related to going to the gym.
Yes. 9 month old, right.
Oh, 9 month old, yeah.
Yes, got you. Yeah. Colin is saying he's never been to the gym in his life.
I don't blame you, mate. It's not exciting.
And Ian's here. Hi, Ian.
Hey, good evening, mate.
Recreational runner. I know lots of coaches in the Stevenage area. If that's not too far, and that's not too far from London, that's a little bit of a train ride out. Rod, hi Rod. Ian. So Ian's saying to Rod, check out Prehab guys for good stretches. Okay. Prehab, right. Okay. Inspired runner, hello. For a 48-year-old 3:15 marathon runner, how many target marathons would you suggest in a year? Normally do spring and autumn, but wonder if any more can be squeezed in without affecting times.
Difficult one, isn't it? I mean, again, we're all different, aren't we? Spring and autumn sounds sensible. Again, you won't find, unless unless the elites are sort of chasing prize money, most of the best elites just do 2 a year. And I think it's healthy to sprinkle in some other distances in between, just to give your mind a break. I think you can get marathon burnout. Unless you're super passionate about the marathon, then there's no reason why you can't drop in more in the middle and maybe just accept that you're not going to treat them as a goal A race. Just do it. With my recent Abingdon one, I went in with no pressure because I hadn't specifically trained for it, bar a couple of weeks training, and I had no pressure, and it was just like, I'll go and run it and see what happens, and it ended up being my best one. If you're happy to go in with that mentality and accept that actually I'm just going to go and have fun and get used to the distance and enjoy myself, I don't see why dropping in a summer one would hurt. But I think if you're going to really train for them, I wouldn't. I'm not at the moment considering more than 2 a year, and I've only ever done 1 a year. I think I'd only ever go up to 2. So again, we're all different. It's about treating them with respect and maybe not treating them all like a goal race.
Yeah, indeed. And similarly, I have only ever done one a year. In fact, I've only ever done two the last 2 years. So Manchester will be my third. And I think I would really struggle, just personally in life to, it's going to be a 4-month period now of training, getting up early, getting out the door, getting those long runs done. I think personally for me that doing that more than once a year would be a bit of a struggle. But if you've got the time available, then why not? But yeah, for me, probably I'd stick with the one per year. Certainly no more than two. Okay. Let's see. Kind of going through a bit here.
I'm trying to read them as well.
Yes. I'm trying to see where the next questions are. There's quite a lot of conversations going on about coaching.
Yeah. That's an interesting one from Recreational Runner.
Yes.
Don't elites usually train 80-20? That's a good one. Yeah, they do. That's a standard. I'll say a standard. That's a recognised sort of. I was going to say industry standard. That's a recognised formula, method, however you want to put it, of training. So yeah, it is.
Yes. Neil's thanking us for that. That's good. Colin, yep, that's right. We all do make mistakes. Dan is saying he'll be in the slipstream of the YouTubers. I'm not so sure about that, Dan. I remember at that trail race we did in the summer, and you weren't in the slipstream then. Right, Recreational Runner. He'll be in Dan's slipstream. Okay. Okay. Matthew is saying, anyone heard anything about the Brighton Marathon? I've run the Brighton Marathon. So that was the first marathon I did. There's a video on that if you want to find out about that one. It's a good marathon. People say it's a flat and fast. I would probably disagree. Dan's also run the Brighton Marathon. But it is a good marathon, and the support on the course is absolutely fantastic for that one. But the first half of it, I would say, is a little bit hilly, and you've got to make sure that you don't exert too much effort on that. The second half is very flat, but there are also some parts to that marathon where it's a little bit demoralising. You're running away from the finish. You're heading towards a very quiet part where there's a power station, and then you take a turn back round and head towards the finish. When you do that, you know you're not far away, but up to that point, there's that real quiet bit. So it's a bit of a mental battle, that one, but a really good marathon to do. Colin's saying he ran 8 marathons in November and PB'd on the final one. Wow. 8.
Colin and Keith, they're brothers. They are absolutely phenomenal. I follow them on Strava and Facebook. They run races like every week, and they run some incredible races. And Colin, correct me if I'm wrong, was it you or was it your brother this weekend that ran a 3:03? I can't remember, if I'm honest with you. You're incredible. You are at another level. Definitely another level.
Indeed, yeah. I can't even imagine how
No,
you can do that.
They blow my mind. When I see
Hats
them on Strava, I'm like, wow.
Okay. Inspired Runner, great advice, thanks. I race all distances 5k upwards, but when one goes wrong, you just want to get back into it. Yeah, that's true.
35-61, I love that.
That's a good one. Guys, I think we're getting towards the end now. We've gone through most of the comments, and I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got any final comments, then do put them in now. I've certainly enjoyed it. Hope you have, Andy. Thanks again for being the guest tonight.
It's been great fun.
We got past the earlier technical issue.
Mate, we all have the technical issues, but we got there, and it's been fantastic. Yes, it was Colin, 3:03. I knew it was. Brilliant, mate. Well done.
Wow. That's brilliant. That really is good. So I don't think I've got any more questions coming in. So again, I just want to thank Andy again for coming on to and sharing his great running experience with us. It's been really entertaining for me. I hope it has for you guys. Do remember to go and check Andy's channel out afterwards, and do give the video a like. That would be really much appreciated. So Andy, any final words from you?
I am wrapping my racing up for 2019. I'm excited to put together some 2020 goals. And I hope you lot out there are wrapping up your, well, no, but there's probably a lot of Christmas races out there, but I hope you lot are thinking well into 2020 now and excited for the new year like I am.
That's what I was going to mention, actually, because I think we probably both said that the 10K was our final race of the year. But yes. Actually, I've signed up for another one.
Yay!
But it's nothing too serious. I'm doing a Santa run this weekend.
Brilliant, mate.
So I'm putting on the Santa suit and doing that. So there'll be a video of that, I'm sure, afterwards. Okay, we must wrap it up now, guys. So thanks again for watching tonight. Do hope you've enjoyed it. Hit the like button if you have. And until the next time, guys, goodbye.